the suppression, the use of marijuana.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome on in to Jets Media, powered by BetUS, the #1 online sports book. We have some breaking news I want to talk about today. The divisional round is wrapped up. The championships are ready to go this weekend, and the New York Jets are ready to hire their GM and head coach. Finally, I think we're going to see a lot of momentum, especially with the Detroit Lions getting eliminated officially, which we will talk about in today's show. I know there's a lot of people having various opinions on Aaron Glenn, and as you can see by the title, Aaron Glenn is coming to One Jets Drive to interview for the spot tomorrow. In person, second interview. First one was virtual, and the expectation is that both parties are very interested. And I'm just going to say this. The New York Jets and Aaron Glenn could come to an agreement tomorrow, because he's also scheduled to meet with the New Orleans Saints. And that tells you right now, the fact that the Jets are before the Saints in the interview process, that tells you the list of preference for Aaron Glenn. If he wanted to be the Saints head coach, he would have scheduled to be with the Saints first and then go to the Jets. So my assumption is, and we saw this on Ian Rappaport and Mike Garofalo of NFL Network, they said if Aaron Glenn does not come to a deal with the New York Jets during their in-person meeting, then expect Glenn to go to New Orleans. So there's a chance that he could be hired this week. There's a chance the Jets find their GM. We're waiting to hear the news of the finalists. We're getting a lot of rumors about who's the finalist for the GM spot. But this is some breaking news for the New York Jets after the Detroit Lions are officially eliminated. Aaron Glenn still seems to be the favorite. So welcome on in, everybody. Please do me a favor, hit the like button. Now, the first thing I want to say about Aaron Glenn, because I know there's a lot of people turning on him as a potential head coach candidate because of them getting bounced by the Washington Commanders and their defense giving up 45 points. By the way, their defense did not give up 45. There was also a pick six. Now, Aaron Glenn has had a defense that he was part to change the culture around. And I hope that people follow me with this. Me personally, I understand that, some people are worried about Robert Saleh being the same type of figure as Aaron Glenn. The reason why I wanted Aaron Glenn before that game on Saturday night, not because of his defensive brains, of the scheme that he'll bring and his defensive coordinator ability. That's why the New York Jets, and that's why I wasn't interested in Aaron Glenn. It's more of his leadership qualities to be a head coach. If the Jets hire Aaron Glenn, he's not going to be the defensive coordinator for the Jets. He's going to hire a defensive coordinator to run the defense and, of course, the offensive coordinator. So that's why, with the decimated defense that the Lions have, literally like 60%, if not more, percent of that defense injured, I'm not going to take that defensive performance against a scorching hot Jaden Daniels and going to make one game to defer my opinion on Aaron Glenn. I think that what you're bringing in is a head coach that is coaching the entire organization, special teams, offense, defense, all three phases, developing a coaching staff, being relatable to your players, being a CEO type of guy. So his, team on defense falling apart. And by the way, I don't think the defense is the reason why they lost that game. If you really want to break it down, Jared Goff had 5 turnovers. I mean, you don't win football games if you turn the ball over 5 times. I know that Detroit won somehow during the season with him getting 5 picks, but this is the playoffs. I think the offense sold. Are people questioning Ben Johnson, calling a trick play and having his wide receiver throw an interception? So I'm still in on Aaron Glenn. I know that he gives Robert Saleh vibes because he's a first-year guy, defensive coordinator. But the difference between Saleh and Glenn is Saleh had a tremendous scheme and an ability to coach an entire defensive unit to the Super Bowl, whereas Aaron Glenn just feels like he's built to be the guy. For example, Dan Campbell, he's a tight end coach, and then he was a head coach. He's not an offensive wizard. He's not a defensive wizard. I think people need to realize you don't need to be a wizard on one side of the football in order to be a head coach. Look at John Harbaugh. Sean McDermott, he's a defensive-minded guy, but it's not like he's a defensive schematic wizard on the defensive side of the ball. Sean McDermott is a great coach that coaches the entire team, always has a good coaching staff underneath him, always has an offensive coordinator that's going to be a head coach eventually, like he did with Brian Dable and now potentially Joe Brady. So just because you're a defensive-minded guy and your defense isn't the best in the league doesn't mean you're disqualified from being a head coach. That's how I look like. That's how I look at it personally. Super chat from Jose Escobar says, many people complain because his defense let up set amount of points, but let's not pretend the world wasn't talking about how good his defense been. Yeah, absolutely. And not to mention, his entire defense is decimated with injuries. The fact that his defense finished at the position that he did, right, with all those injuries is like an awesome trait, in my opinion. So I think that Aaron Glenn is a guy. And also, look at the options. Who's a better option, you can argue, than Aaron Glenn? We also have to weigh that into this conversation, because Brian Flores is the next guy I would definitely like next to Aaron Glenn. Josh McCown is that is a risky move, but like that could boom or it could be a complete bust, right? And then you talk about Steve Spagnuolo, you talk about Matt Nagy and Arthur Smith. Like, if you're weighing the options here, I still have Aaron Glenn as my number one guy that I personally want. Dan Quinn was a defensive coordinator before getting the Commanders head coach job, and now they are in the NFC Championship game. Great point. He also was in the Super Bowl with the Falcons. So I feel like just because you're and by the way, when you think of the Commanders, is it their defense the reason why they're so successful? I mean, shout out to the defense for showing up in the playoffs against the Lions, but it's their offense with Cliff Kingsbury and a quarterback. So if the Jets can hire Aaron Glenn, hire a tremendous offensive coordinator, and just happen to find a Jaden Daniels, easy, right? That's not obviously easy to do. We got to find our quarterback, but that's how I look at it, man. So the New York Jets have a chance to interview Aaron Glenn and not have him leave the building. So very interesting stuff. I'm not discrediting anything that Aaron, my opinion on Aaron Glenn did not change because of his performance Saturday night as a defense. He was sending in a lot of pressure. He was trying to slow down a scorching hot Cliff Kingsbury and mobile quarterback. And if he can build, that's the big question. Who is going to be the coordinators underneath Aaron Glenn if he does get this job? Who's his offensive coordinator? That's the most important piece. And I don't know for sure, but I'm going to assume that Aaron Glenn won't be calling plays on defense as the head coach. I would assume he would hire a DC that's going to run the defense, similar to how Saleh tried to did, the same structure. But I agree. 5 interceptions hurt the defense. If you're an offense, that's turning the ball over 5 times, and you as a defense have to do a lot. I mean, the Lions I blame the offense more in that game. Not to take anything away, but that's just how I look at it. And listen, I also want people to be aware, if the Jets get Aaron Glenn, it's no guarantee we found our guy, right? It's no guarantee we should be popping champagne. We got our next coach for the future. We don't know, but you're allowed to be excited about it. It's like a fresh new beginning, and we can all rally around him. But I think we all celebrated the Robert Saleh hire in a perspective that, yeah, he's guaranteed going to work. And I'm not going to go into this approach, even if we get my favorite candidate, which is Aaron Glenn. I'm not going to crown him as our head coach for the next decade until he proves it. But I'm also still going to be excited about it. I'm still going to be believe in his vision and curious to see it. But my prediction is that Aaron Glenn's going to get hired. That's my prediction. I don't know if you guys agree. But the fact that Aaron Glenn is getting the second interview after the first cycle tells you all you need to know. Now, the next question is the general manager position. Now, there's a guy that the Jets interviewed that is rumored to be the favorite. And that's John Eric Sullivan. Green Bay Packers. Okay? This is the guy that's responsible to finding Jordan Love. Work with Brian Gutekunst. I mean, the Jets are always linked to the Packers still. Not guarantee they're hiring him, but this is one name that is getting a lot of momentum. Another name that could be in the finalists is Alec Hallaby. This is a name that I really like. I think his resume is very unique. Okay. And then the final guy is Mike Greenberg. So those are the 3 GMs. Now we'll see for sure when the news comes out, when the Jets induct their second interviews. If I had to guess out of these 3 who I would prefer, it's Mike Greenberg. I think getting 2 guys that are tied to the Jets organization makes sense. Mike Greenberg, born in Long Island, New York, raised a Jets fan just like me, and he's a cap wizard. The thing about Mike Greenberg, if the Jets hired him, though, is if he needs to hire a really elite scouting department, because the one thing that Mike Greenberg is not known for is scouting. He's more the business savvy type of guy. He's works with the cap space. You think of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you think of just how can they keep all that talent together? Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. They paid Baker Mayfield. They got Tristan Wirfs paid under contract. Vita Vea. I mean, the list goes on. That team has so much talent, and they know how to keep everybody together. It's because of this guy. And you think of the New York Jets talent, how are we going to be able to fit Sauce, Garrett, Brees, Jermaine Johnson, Elijah Vera Tucker? There's a lot of talent on this Jets roster that the next GM is going to have to figure out a way to keep the guys they want and move on. I mean, which is why I like Mike Greenberg a lot. Aaron Glenn is also a former scout. Great reminder here. So the one thing with Mike Greenberg is you're not getting, like, for example, Joe Douglas came from the scouting department, so he was more like had a good eye for the draft. So he would need to get like a really good assistant GM who was more with the scouting brains than anything. So we'll see about that. My boy Wardy NYM is in the chat. Guys, if you are a Mets fan or just an MLB baseball fan in general, go over to my boy Wardy NYM's YouTube channel and show him some love. He is the #1 Mets YouTuber. He's a great friend of mine. He's killing it, man. He's absolutely killing the game. He asked, who do I want for GM and coach? I want Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn is my #1 option right here. The Jets are interviewing with him in person tomorrow. This is their second interview. The defensive coordinator for the Lions is my favorite. And then, you know, you talk about the GM position. Chris Spielman is a guy I would also consider. He's coming from Detroit. Pairing them 2 up would be great, right? Pairing up Chris Spielman and Aaron Glenn would be awesome. John Eric Sullivan is a name from Green Bay that I think is, I heard a lot of people talk about his name, that he had a great interview with the Jets. Because remember, the Jets interviewed pretty much all these guys already. You see all of them on your screen. I don't think this is an updated list. We've interviewed more than the names here. And you could take Mark Berganzi off as he's now with Tennessee. But the Jets are, I really think that the Jets are going to find their guy by the end of the week, man. It's going to start picking up. It's really going to start picking up steam. So I really, really think that we're going to see some momentum. And maybe they hire some of these guys that are interviewing at GM for other roles, like executive or assistant GMs, right? So everybody in the chat, you guys let me know. Do you want to interview somebody else? A big name that the Jets are not interviewing as of yet is Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is rumored to be linked to the New Orleans Saints and the Chicago Bears, but not the Jets. And you look at the resume of Mike McCarthy, you're like, well, why not bring him in for an interview? Cliff Kingsbury, I think Cliff Kingsbury doesn't want to go anywhere. If I'm Cliff Kingsbury, I'm in no rush to go back to be a head coach. Because think of it from Cliff Kingsbury's perspective, right? He is getting paid from the Arizona Cardinals still, because he got fired by the Cardinals. So he's getting paid like he's a head coach still until like 2028. That's what happens when, I don't know if you guys know this, but head coaches sign fully guaranteed contracts. It doesn't affect the cap. And if you get fired, you still get paid when you're not, like, for example, Saleh is going to get paid by the Jets this year as their head coach, but he's not going to be coaching. So Cliff Kingsbury has an opportunity to build something special with the Commanders. He's there for 1 year. I assume Cliff wants to stay at least another year with Jaden Daniels and wait for a head coaching position to get open where he can pick his own quarterback at the top. He's not going to want to come to the Jets. Cliff Kingsbury wants a young quarterback to develop. Who do we have to develop? I would love Cliff Kingsbury. I've always loved Cliff Kingsbury. He also could be just a really good offensive coordinator, not a good head coach. That's another thing about him. But I don't think Cliff is in a rush to become a head coach. He's a super successful offensive coordinator right now, part of an organization's turnaround. I don't think he's in a rush. I think Cliff stays with Washington and then becomes a head coach maybe next year. That's my perspective of Cliff Kingsbury. That's not me saying I don't want him. That's just me saying from a realistic perspective. Okay? But there's other names out there like Todd Monken. I'm surprised the Jets are not interviewing at all. Very, very interested to see why we're not doing that. The Saints are bringing in Glenn in on Wednesday. If we don't make an offer tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if he takes the Saints job. Yeah, so this is an interesting caveat to this whole situation here, folks. Aaron Glenn is going to be in the Jets building tomorrow. And if he walks out without a deal, he's going to New Orleans and can strike a deal with them. So the Jets have to make a decision about Aaron Glenn. If they want Aaron Glenn, they cannot let him leave the building. That's how you look at it. From the Jets' perspective, if you come away from the interview thinking like, yes, this is the guy, then you have to hire him. Because if you don't do that and you start doing your due diligence on your second and third options, Aaron Glenn can go to New Orleans and get hired by them. And then you're stuck with your second and third option. So I think the New York Jets, if they love him, they have to hire him tomorrow. But now the big question is, will the Jets hire a head coach before they hire a GM? That's an interesting thing. You'd assume it's the GM first, then the head coach. So we'll see, man. And listen, I already feel the shift of opinions on Aaron Glenn after that game against Washington. And I hope people realize, I said it at the top of the show, I'm not going to let one game change my opinion on a coach. Because, by the way, we're not hiring Aaron Glenn as a defensive coordinator. People need to realize the defensive coordinator position and the head coach position are two completely different animals. Aaron Glenn is coming here not for a brilliant defensive scheme or a brilliant defensive mind. It's to be the head coach and to hire the right defensive coordinator under him, to hire the right offensive coordinator under him. That's what he will bring. Let's not forget to mention the amount of injuries that Detroit has on defense. It's literally historic. It's not just your ordinary injuries. It's unbelievable the amount of injuries that Aaron Glenn's defense had to deal with this season. And by the way, their offense for the Lions, I think, deserves more blame. 5 turnovers. You expect the defense to be able to thrive when your offense has turned the ball over 5 times? Come on, man. We went from needing experience to this coach. Sad. Listen, I was all for experience, but at the end of the day, you never know. There could be one guy in particular that just needs an opportunity to prove to be the guy. And Aaron Glenn could be. Like, what guy out there has experience that you guys would prefer? Brian Flores with his experience? Who else? Spags? Failed? What head coach out? What? Arthur Smith with experience? Mike McCarthy? Am I missing anybody? Josh McCown. Now, Josh McCown is such an interesting candidate, man. Because I have a stance on Josh McCown. I really, really do. I have a stance where I would actually get behind it. Because the thing about Josh McCown is, first of all, I really don't expect the Jets to do this. If I had to predict this, they're not going to hire Josh McCown. But the case is, you hire him a year or two early, and I don't think if Josh McCown hypothetically gets the job, he's going to be the offensive play caller. I think he would hire an offensive coordinator and just be the head coach, hire an OC, similar to what I'm talking about with Glenn. Because some people are worried about the jump from quarterback coach all the way up to head coach because he doesn't have play calling experience. Maybe Josh McCown could be a guy. I think he's going to be head coach one day. I really, really could. But I think it's too early to do it. I do not expect the Jets to do it. And I don't think the New York Jets are in a position where they can weigh this. This is a huge risk. Josh McCown is the most riskiest candidate. And I don't think the Jets are in a position where they can afford a type of risk. V-Man, $2. The Pergito's son must return Glenn for New York Jets head coach. V-Man wants Aaron Glenn. I love it. All right, it's time to put a poll up. And I'm also going to put, I want to hear from you guys. It's been a minute since we did a little call-in segment, so we're going to do a call-in. Call in. If you guys want to call in the show, talk to me, ask me some questions about Aaron Glenn, link is now at the top of the chat, folks. Big time shout out to BetUS Sportsbook, your number one online sportsbook. The Super Bowl betting odds are out already, folks. The Super Bowl betting odds are out. If you guys want to check out BetUS, make sure you do by clicking the link at betus.com.pa, and you will receive a 150% bonus on your first deposit. That's up to $2,000. They also have a casino option where you can go in there, play some blackjack. You even got some basketball legends on there, dragon eggs. Please, please, please bet responsibly, folks. They even have a BetUS, a BetUS blackjack thing where it's like you can just play without real money. There's options to play with real money. So big shout out to BetUS for being the proud sponsor of Jets Media all season long. Please, please bet responsibly, folks, as always. Now, I think there's more that we need to talk about regarding Aaron Glenn. And I feel like what we're doing right now as a Jets fan base is we have to be on the same page. I think that's too much to ask, though. Jets fans being on the same page, impossible. Right? I mean, just absolutely impossible. Jets fans being on the same page. And that's okay. That's pretty much every single fan base, right? Every fan base. There's civil wars within every single fan base, bro. So you guys let me know in the chat right now. Do you want Aaron Glenn or not? If not, who? If not, then who? All right. Let's see. All right, let's get Dan is in. What's good, Dan?
Hey.
How you doing, bro?
How are you doing, man? How are you doing?
I'm good, bro. How about yourself?
I'm doing good.
How you feeling, bro? Aaron Glenn, or you want another head coach? Who's your guy?
I want Aaron Glenn.
Nice. Why is that?
I feel like he's a pretty, like he said in an interview, like he can coach both sides of the ball, and that's what we need.
I agree, Dan. I think he's a good option out of all the people. So we'll see if he can get it. Do you think the Jets will hire him?
I really hope so.
All right.
Considering he said we're his first interview.
Yeah, I agree. So we shall see. Dan, anything else before I get to the next caller, my friend?
Who do you want to be the next GM?
Good question. Mike Greenberg is a guy I would absolutely love. Alec Hallaby, Chris Spielman, just to list a few. There's a lot of rumors around John Eric Sullivan. I mean, there's so many names, Dan, so I'm trying to list them all, but those are the guys I think are the most intriguing options.
One more thing, I'm also from Long Island, too.
Hey, Long Island represent, man. Love that, Dan.
Yes,
well,
sir.
Appreciate the call, man, and I appreciate all the support, bro. Let's go Jets.
No problem. Have a great day.
You too, Dan. Great call from Dan right there. Jets fan from Long Island. Woo, represent. Things you love it. Things you love to see, man. Things you absolutely love to see. Prestige says, yes, I want Aaron Glenn, Richie. You want no part of Arthur Smith or Matt Nagy. Yeah, I agree, bro. I agree. Jets fandom is Gotham City right now. Glenn has to be our Batman. It's true. Shout out to James Baker in the chat. What's good, bro? Isn't the interview today with Glenn? I think it's tomorrow in One Jets Drive facility. We're tanking in 2025 regardless of who's coaching. 2026 QB draft class. I wouldn't say we're tanking, but we may not be good. That's two different things. Just because we may not be good doesn't mean we'll be tanking. And that's this season coming up, folks, is going to be very interesting because us Jets fans, we know what to expect now, where our expectations are going to be at an all-time low. Right? We're not going to be anticipating, like, for example, the anticipation leading into this past season was through the roof for most Jets fans. Like, this is the year, Aaron Rodgers, all this talent around him. But we had a giant issue right in front of us that a lot of people saw coming. but I refused to believe it because I didn't want that to be the issue, and it was. Coaching! And here we are getting a brand new coach. So here we go. All right, next up, we got the legend V-Man in the chat. V-Man, you're live.
Yeah, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm great, brother. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, my man.
Yeah, I'm a Glenn guy. I like a lot of things I like about Glenn is, and let me center this thing. It's better. Number one is I like the fact that he's coming from a similar situation. That there are only a few teams that can match the Jets in misery, ineptitude, and all that other stuff.
Oh, yeah?
And it's the Lions. So coming from a regime that successfully orchestrated a turnaround to not just be where being good, that they're literally right now arguably one of the model franchises of the NFL right now. Right? How quickly they did it, like in what 2021, they did it in what, like less than 5 years, they turned it around to a model. It's 22, 21, 22, 23, 24. Like in under 5 years, they turned the Detroit Lions from the laughable losers of the NFL that they were under,
True.
Matt Patricia to a model, to, like I said, the absolute model franchise of football right now that everybody right now is trying to emulate. And then, so I like that. I like secondly that he's coming from a head coach, like the head coaches he's been around in his life. Obviously his rookie year was with Pete Carroll. Let's forget about let's forget about 95 and 96 for a second. Then he's around Bill Parcells. You got Herman Edwards. And then as a coach, he was around, Sean Payton, Dan Campbell. These are a lot of great minds to be around. And of course, let's almost forgot Bill Belichick, but less we talk about him, the better, But like I said, he's been around a lot of great coaches to help mold him into the individual he is. And another thing is, I think being around Campbell, I think is especially good because I think for far too long, the Jets have been a team that's been, a very conservative football team. They always, like, even for Robert Oliver, all this talk of all gas, no brake. I felt more often than not he never lived up to it. Like, and I always felt like whenever it was fourth down and you were just screaming, "Go for it, go for it!" And out comes the punting unit.
Yeah, you're right. He coached scared.
Exactly, and then like I said, so being under Campbell, a guy who has the largest cojones in all the NFL right now.
Yeah, and that's you talk about the Commanders. The Commanders beat the Lions in their own game, so that tells you that it's trending in that direction in the modern day NFL, is being more aggressive on fourth down. And V-Man, I love the point that you made, is that if there is an organization that you can say is similar to the Jets, it's the Detroit Lions. The only difference is they figured it out. We didn't. Okay, so why not go bring in the guy that helped figure it out over there? Which is why I think it's a perfect idea.
The Detroit Lions are such a mess. Like, give you context of how bad last time they won a championship, Puerto Rico had free health care. That's how long it's been.
Look at that.
Yeah, but let's get back to other stuff. So the other thing I like is, I think being a former player for the Jets, I think he'll bring, something that we've lacked. I think we've lacked a lot of intensity in these divisional matchups. I mean, how many times do you always see there's 1, 2, or 3 divisional games where the Jets are completely asleep and it's like they're not even trying to win?
Like, they get obliterated.
Like the Bills game this year, the 2 Dolphins games last year. I mean, there's always those games in the division where we're always getting humiliated. It's like, where it's like it doesn't seem like we're not even like trying to win those games. And being a former player who played in those divisional matchups, who played in those games, you understand it, and you're going to ensure that you're going to have that intensity that you need to win those games. Kind of like, you watch old games of the Bears under Mike Ditka, like the way he approached those Packers games, he treated them like it was a playoff game. And that's the way your coach should treat divisional matchups. Because, look, every coach is going to talk about the importance of winning in the division, but when you yourself have played in those games, you understand it on a completely different level.
Great points, V-Man. I mean, this is one of your best calls. I mean, you're just sitting there.
I'm trying to think, and then
you're just come out here speaking. The analysis is just through the roof, V-Man.
Yeah, no, like I said, I think Glenn is one of my favorites. And like I said, I'm trying to think of anything else with Glenn is, well, obviously being on the Lions, I think there's some good people he can poach for his staff. And, the other fact is that he wants to be here. This is not a guy who's, settling for the Jets because his other options weren't open. This is a guy who, and don't you want that? Do you not? Do you really just want the guy who's settling? Because is he really gonna be as fully dedicated to it as someone who, like, can your heart really be in it if you're just settling? Like, it's like, I wanted the Bears job, but it got taken, so I guess I'll just settle.
So what's your final prediction, V-Man, before I let you go? Will Aaron Glenn get the job? I know you want him, but do you think he'll actually get the job? Yes or no?
I think he's gonna get the job. I think
baby.
Think at this point, like both parties want it. I don't see anything that's gonna have to go. Well, the Saints are a thing out there, but I've heard it from Los Angeles fans they don't feel confident because the thing is with the Jets is, for as bad as we are, we're still a young team. For the problem.
Yeah, that's why I believe this team is not far away from contending. Yeah, this team's not far away from contending if you can get the right coaches involved. And V-Man, we got to get to the next caller, but V-Man, thank you so much. This was a great call. Appreciate you. Everybody give V-Man a round of applause. V-Man, much love to you, my man.
Peace.
Peace out, brother. He brings up a lot of good points about Aaron Glenn. I think the fact that he's a former player, he played in the divisional games. The fact that he's tied to this organization is a big reason why I love him. And I just feel like the people he's been around throughout his entire NFL career, he's not only just a former player, but he was a scout. He's an eye for talent. He has it all. So I think that it's a good opportunity for Aaron Glenn to get a head coaching position. And why not bring him home to the New York Jets, where he wants to be? We'll see. Woody, you're on the clock. JR Jet with the $5 super chat, my man. My pick is Glenn, considering he brings someone from Detroit staff to run a similar offensive system. Hashtag Jet up. JR Jet, thank you for the $5 super chat, my friend. What a nice guy. Dono hype in the chat for my man right here, JR Jet. Let's go. All right, next up we got the number one grinder.
What's good?
What's up, bro?
I see. I try to get the picture. Let's see.
The camera's off.
Man. I'm out of town, so.
No worries, brother. How you feeling?
I'm all right. I just want to say one thing because I got to take care of some things. I think Aaron Glenn is an excellent. I think, and I was the Jets when when they interview him tomorrow. Don't let him leave the building.
Don't let him leave the building.
No, don't let him leave the building. It stops it stops right there. No, no. Mm-mm.
We're doing it all over again. With Salah, I love it.
Salah, I understand it, but
no, the only reason why I say that is that don't let him leave the building. Then
don't let him leave the building. This is a short thing. Long time Jet fan. This is a short thing. Don't let him leave the building. So
let's do it.
Hopefully, I expect sometime late tomorrow, Aaron Glenn will be our head coach of the Jets. That's
absolutely.
I got that feeling.
All right. Well, the number one grinder, when that does happen, I'm excited to have a call-in show, and you were right all along because I want that to happen, my man. Hope you're doing well. Great to hear from you, brother.
Likewise.
Take care. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of people. Thank you so much for answering my questions on your call. Go Jets. Dan, you are a legend, man. Call in more often. You are a natural. Appreciate you, brother. We have Patriots fan in this chat. How about that? Congrats on Mike Vrabel. He's going to suck, and your team's going to be trash, and Drake May's up. I'm just kidding. Go on a whole rant about just my hatred for the Patriots after seeing there's a Patriots fan in the chat. I'm just messing around, folks. Folks, as you know, or if you don't know, I'm going to the Senior Bowl and the Super Bowl, and your boy got a business card made for myself. How about that? A Roundtable Sports business card. It's pretty fresh. Got my information. Real coverage from real fans. I got to hand this out. I got to network. Be like, hey, yo, Roundtable Sports, come on the show. Man, it's a great time right now. If you guys don't know what Roundtable Sports is, I'm a co-founder of it. It's a network I'm building right now with TD Finstock and Dan Mitchell. A lot of shows across YouTube that we are hosting. on multiple different platforms, multiple different YouTube channels. The AFC East Roundtable is where it all started, and we expanded to every single division. As you see behind the Roundtable Sports logo, I don't know if you could tell, but you got the 8 division logos fainted in the background. We have divisional coverage. We also have main network shows like Wake Up and Ball. That's live every weekday at 8:30 a.m. with myself and TD Finstalk. Let's do it, man. It's a lot of fun. Appreciate everybody that supports the brand Roundtable Sports, man. This is when you guys don't see me on live and you're wondering where's the content. This is what I'm working on behind the scenes, building a freaking company. A lot of work to do that. Let's do it. Also, Richie, congrats on all the success, homie. Well-deserved. Big dog. I'd love to get into sports coverage. Yeah, Chris, it was a dream of mine to get into sports coverage when I was younger, and I decided to pave my own way, built, and keep going, and the job's not finished, I'll tell you that much. Long way to go. Long, long, long way to go. All right, let's get into more callers. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Hennessy, who the heck do you want? You don't want Aaron Glenn? This dude comparing McVay to McCown. Who are you talking about? Henny, who do you want? Brian Flores? You want McCarthy? My boy Henny's out here. McDouble. There's no one that makes me laugh more in the chat consistently than Henny, bro. I swear. Does anyone else feel like Woody watered down the interview cool so that Glenn would be more of a consensus when this gets looked back at? What do you mean by that? Elaborate, Lawrence. All right, let's get into some more callers. Charles Gorman.
Hey,
Charles,
Richie, how are you?
what's up, man? I'm good. How about yourself?
I gotta agree with V-Man. Aaron Glenn has been a part of some really good coaches: Belichick, Parcells, Payton, Sean Payton, that is, and Dan Campbell. And his mentor is Bill Parcells. You know, a lot of people want to hate on him because of what happened on Sunday versus Washington. But, you know, last time I checked, last time a defensive coordinator had a bad game and wound up being a quality head coach was Dan Quinn. I mean, look at him. He's one win away from
turning around. I agree, man. I agree. I think Dan Quinn is showing you that defensive coaching works if you get the right offensive coordinator, which he did with Cliff Kingsbury. And the big question is, who is the OC that Glenn will bring in?
I think it should be Mark Brunell, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of intriguing names out there, and I think that he's going to – I trust him. So we shall see. So, Charles, your gut feeling, yes or no, Glenn's a Jet this week or next week, or are they going to go a different direction?
I think Glenn will be a Jet this week.
Woo! You heard it here first from the legend Charles Gorman. Charles, appreciate the call, man. Hope you're doing well, my friend.
Thank you.
Take care and enjoy your rest. Charles, chilling. My guy. Why is there no update on the GM? Do they have a GM in mind that wants Glenn? The latest I heard, Aaron, and this is all speculation, nothing is confirmed, but I heard that the 3 finalists are rumored, and I want to emphasize rumored, to be Alec Calaby, Mike Greenberg, and John Eric Sullivan. John Eric Sullivan has the most buzz coming out of the first round of interviews. Again, this is not confirmed, but this is some rumblings that I've seen. You know, another option is Chris Spielman. Another option is Ryan Grigson. Mike Bergonzi's officially off the table. So there's a lot of guys, but I think that the New York Jets are going to conduct their second round of interviews at the GM spot this week as well. Indy Jets. Hey, Richie, been a while since I've seen your show. Had a minor stroke on New Year's. Oh, my goodness. Indy Jets, sending my thoughts. Everyone send Indy Jets some thoughts and prayers, man. I hope you're doing well. Oh, my goodness. A longtime caller of Jets media. Hope you're doing well, man. Please let me know if you're doing okay, brother. Heal up. Prayers up to you. Thinking about you, Indy Jets. I miss your calls, but heal up, my brother. Heal up. Love you, man. V-Man with a super chat. $5. I feel McCarthy will go to the Bears. NFL wants him there to spice the Bears-Packer rivalry. Yeah, I think it's going to be Mike McCarthy to the Bears. Then who's going to go to the Saints if Aaron Glenn goes to the Jets? It's going to be interesting, man. Ben Johnson. Do you think Ben Johnson goes to the Raiders? Do you think he goes to Jacksonville? Ben Johnson can go to Chicago. Brian Flores could go somewhere. I don't know, man. It's going to be very interesting to see where these how these coaches end up. And by the way, Robert Saleh has a chance to be a head coach. Robert Saleh. I don't think he will. Maybe he gets the Jacksonville job. There's a lot of rumors that they love him in Jacksonville because remember, he was a linebackers coach with 2 years. So interesting to see that as a potential destination for Robert Saleh. He's going to be a defensive coordinator guaranteed, but the question is, will he get a head coaching gig? And knowing the Jets, watch Robert Saleh lead whatever team he goes to in his first year as the coach to the playoffs. Watch that happen. Preparing myself for that. When am I going to the Senior Bowl? I will be headed to the Senior Bowl a week from today. A week from today, I'll be flying out to the Senior Bowl. Woo. Wow. I don't even know what to expect there, bro. That's going to be fun. That reminds me, I got to start doing some homework on these prospects. I got to start doing some Senior Bowl homework. I already know the quarterbacks that I'm looking at is Jackson Dart. Jalen Milroe will be there. I think Dylan Gabriel will be there too. Will Kyle McCord be there? I don't know. But I know the quarterbacks, but I got to do some positional. Guys, if there's anybody going to the Senior Bowl, a specific prospect that you want me to keep an eye on, please don't be afraid to let me know who. Because I'm going to be there all week seeing all the players. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's go. Appreciate the love, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button on your way into the show. Jets Media is live. Right now, we have how many likes? How many likes do we have? 81 likes. Let's get to 100. 100 likes, baby. Is it too much to ask for 100? 100. Can I see a 100? Please recruit Dart to the Jets. You know I'll be doing that. And I don't want to, get ahead of myself here, but do you guys remember the narrative I was pushing last year heading into the draft that I wanted the New York Jets to draft Jordan Travis? And they did it. They listened. Brick Johnson watches Jets Media, and he showed Woody's like, hey, this guy Richie on YouTube, he's saying we should draft Jordan Travis. Do you think we should too? Woody probably reviewed my channel, and he's like, you know what? Yes, I like this guy. Let's draft Jordan Travis. So I'm going to push the Jackson Dart narrative. I don't care if I get called names. Because, by the way, another quarterback last year who I liked? I liked Bo Nix, and I got called names for it. I don't know ball. I said on YouTube and on the huddle last year that the New York Jets should look into drafting Bo Nix in the first round. I really said it, and a lot of Jets fans thought I was nuts for saying that. I watched his tape at Oregon, and I'm like, why is he not a name to watch? Like, why is everyone saying this kid's going to be a bust? Like, I watched his tape at Oregon, and I was very impressed. I looked at his, strengths, his weaknesses, and you got to look at certain qualities in these prospects. And of course, it's not easy to analyze quarterback prospects. You never know. But I liked Bo Nix, and I kept saying I liked Bo Nix on Twitter, and I did here on YouTube, and people thought like I was nuts. And now look what he did for Denver. Now, he only has 1 year of good football. I mean, as a rookie, he brought the Broncos to their first playoff appearance in almost 10 years. So I just want a franchise quarterback. Unfortunately for the Jets this season, this quarterback class is not as deep as that was last year. I don't think Jackson Dart is going to be able to be drafted as high as the Jets are drafting. I don't know how high he's going to go, but maybe he's there in the second round. You pull the trigger on him, or you trade back into the first round. I don't know. But I want a freaking quarterback. You look at Jaden Daniels going to Washington and see how tremendous he is. You see Lamar and Josh going after each other. You're Pat Mahomes, even CJ Stroud. I mean, Jalen Hurts. All these quarterbacks, young, drafted by their organizations, signed to extensions. I just want the Jets to find their guy. And I know it's hard to do, but I just want it to happen, man. I just do. It's too much to ask. I know. I may be asking for a lot, but I want a franchise quarterback. Aaron Glenn, find me that guy. Frank, I was with you on Bo Nix last year, and I'm bored with Jackson Dart as well, but Olu is a stud that eases the pain. Yes, Frank, great point. Olu is a stud, so it's not like we drafted a bust in the first round, so that is a plus. I would say the next most important position behind the quarterback, in my opinion, in this league, is a franchise left tackle. And the Jets potentially hit a home run with Olu. Now, he's got to stay healthy because now all of a sudden he's got some injury concern, which is not good. But Olu, when he was playing, looked like a polished, franchise-changing left tackle. And let me tell you this, the next GM that's coming in for this Jets team, this is the best offensive line that the New York Jets have had, and Joe Douglas built it. This next GM is being gifted the best Jets offensive line assembled in a long time. We have 4 out of 5 offensive linemen, and they looked pretty good last year when they were healthy. And they're young, too. It's not an old, aging, decrepit, like, short-term offensive line. It's a long-term offensive line. Young left tackle, young center, young right guard, and a solid vet at left guard. I'm going to put myself on record right now, and I've been consistent, and I'm going to keep being consistent. And if he gets signed here, I'll still say the same thing, and I'll say, prove me wrong. Right hand up, I do not want the New York Jets to sign Justin Fields. I just don't. I don't see it in him. And I could be dead wrong. And by the way, if the New York Jets do sign him, and for some reason, some awesome reason, he becomes our franchise quarterback and Justin Fields lights it up and he's a dog, I'm going to be so happy. I'll be rooting for that. But I just don't know if, I mean, listen, Justin Fields, he fits the timeline for the Jets, a bridge quarterback. If Aaron Rodgers leaves, we need to get some type of vet. He's a young vet. There is upside. There's potential untapped stuffing in there. But I just don't see it in Justin Fields. I didn't see it at Ohio State. I didn't want the Jets to draft him out of college. I just feel like he's way more of a mobile threat than he'll ever develop into. Like, if he was able to be a good quarterback, we would see some consistencies at reading the field, making the throws down like the middle. Like, what Justin Fields is great at is making people miss behind the line of scrimmage and rushing. Like, you look at Jaden Daniels, he's a mobile quarterback, but he can make all the big throws. He scans the pocket. He doesn't get rattled. He doesn't turn the ball over. Like, Justin Fields just does not move the needle for me, where I don't even think it's worth bringing him in as a bridge. Like, I'd rather throw Jordan Travis out there to see what he's got than Justin Fields. But again, if the Jets sign him and he becomes a dog, I will be buying a Justin Fields jersey and rooting for him harder than anybody. But that's just how I feel. I don't love everybody. I know it feels like it. Quinn Ewers. That's an interesting quarterback prospect. Now, this is a guy that a lot of people feels like they don't like coming out of the draft. You take rookie Stroud or Daniels? Oh, Daniels all day. All day. I wasn't sold on C.J. Stroud's rookie season as much as others. And he had a slump sophomore year, and then he stepped up and won a playoff game. Shout out to C.J. Stroud. But I think Jaden Daniels' rookie season is like on another level. I mean, 100%. Joe Milton. I mean, the Patriots are not going to trade Joe Milton. They have a franchise backup quarterback. That's a valuable asset. Kyle McCord is another name in the draft that you do like. If I did have to choose one college football team to be my favorite, it is Syracuse. I don't follow Syracuse football. I don't really follow it, but if anybody asks me, hey, who's your favorite college team? I always say Syracuse. Like, that's the one team I have ties to. So it would be cool. He's also a New Jersey kid, Kyle McCord. Right? Time to sign Sammy Darnold back to the squad. How about that? Thoughts on bringing in Hendon Hooker from the Lions? Listen, I mean, does this mean that we're getting Aaron Glenn? Right? Does that mean we're going to bring in Aaron Glenn? I mean, Hendon Hooker, I don't really see, him being able to develop behind Ben Johnson and Jared Goff, and that, Teddy Bridgewater came in and I believe and stole his spot. Yeah, take a flyer on him if the Jets hire Aaron Glenn for sure. No doubt. Jackson Darts. Yeah, baby. That's what I want. All right, let's get to some more callers. We got LaSalle.
Hey, what's
LaSalle,
good?
bro. What's good, man?
Yeah, doing good. Just worked out. Just worked out.
Woo.
Did shoveling the snow for a little
Nice.
while. So
Look at
because the
you.
storm hit.
Active.
Yeah, very active. Very active. I will say I would love Aaron Glenn, but I would love Aaron Glenn to be the head coach. But I will say I don't want to get the exact same offense at July because trying to go on a a recent thing. It doesn't really it doesn't what's the word help with
Mhm.
it. I feel like the one thing I want us to do, because we see it now working. It is working. Want to go after offensive coordinator from go after a player from college. I'm not saying be an offensive coordinator, but being like in the being bringing in like an offense like kind of like college, like with Cliff Kingsbury bringing in Commanders, like a real like fast pace college style spread offense, and that's what I feel like would be great for the team, great for the team, like because we've been having this stagnated offense. It'd be very fun to have a spread, speedy offense that that could get people open and that could get big yards.
Mm. Yeah,
That's
it's
what
an
I feel.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an interesting perspective, LaSalle. I
Yep.
appreciate the call as always, and
Yep.
have a nice rest. All right, you were very
Yep.
active today, my boy LaSalle. Well, yeah, I mean, listen, you kind of want to have some continuity while bringing in some familiarity on the Detroit Lions coaching staff. There's going to be a lot of options that Aaron Glenn is going to weigh between if he does come in. You know, right? If we hire Glenn or whoever we hire, the next question is who's his coaching staff. That's going to be the next thing that everyone's going to be wondering. So, and I'm going to be on ear reporting it all and give you guys a reel. I'm excited about it, man. Up next, we got my boy Julio Kelly.
What's up,
Julio,
dog? What up, Rich?
good to see you, man. How you
Good
been?
to see you too, bro. Hey, I got the one question. Even if we get Glenn, who you want as a defensive coordinator?
Yeah, great question. I think there's a lot of intriguing options out there that I trust the connections with Aaron Glenn. I feel like he knows the guys out there because I feel like the names I'd bring up, Aaron Glenn is not going to consider, right? So I think Aaron Glenn's going to bring in the right guy, maybe from the Lions coaching staff that are positional coaches, or maybe there's a guy out there waiting for a job that is perfect. But I do know it's going to be somebody with a relationship with him.
You don't think Bob Scott will be the one?
Bob Scott?
Yeah,
Why is that?
man. I just see his aggression and how he wants to just to win, how the defense should play. Like, I feel like he could be one of them because he always feel like he was a coach and like he wants to coach and let the defense take havoc on people.
Yeah, listen, I also know Victor Green is somebody that wants to
Yeah.
come back, a former Jet player who played with Aaron Glenn.
Yeah, even him.
Yeah, I think him as a defensive backs coach or something will be cool.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of options, and it's going to be cool to see the coaching staff he assembles if he is the guy. So we shall see.
Yep. And then, did you watch that last night game?
Yeah, of course.
Did you see how Lamar made all the mistakes?
Yeah, he made those 2 mistakes that cost him in the first half.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing. And I think it didn't feel right going into Buffalo playing like that.
Yeah, man, it's tough. The fumble and that interception, and then Mark Andrews was the one making the mistakes at the end. So
yeah,
and the Bills won because they were mistake-free, and that's how you got to play in the playoffs.
exactly. But
So,
Richie, I'm waiting for Aaron Glenn to be the head coach and what's to come.
All right. Well, I think it's going to happen soon, Julio. Let's go, Jets.
Yeah, and you know how I feel about Aaron Rodgers. I feel like he can get one more year until we get our quarterback.
Mhm.
Coming from that Achilles, it takes a year.
Yeah, I agree. I'm all in. Julio, appreciate the call, man. Much love to you and the fam, and salute. I think Aaron Rodgers has a chance to come back with Aaron Glenn. I like that idea. I'm not just attached to it. I'm not going to cry if he doesn't come back, but I would love it. I really would. There's 2 different paths the Jets can go down, and I'm curious to see which one they decide to pick. Oh, it's going to be glorious. Folks, don't forget to smash the like button if you didn't already. We got a lot of people tuning in live on Jets Media. I think that the Jets will be finding their head coach and their GM today. I'm sorry, not today, this week or early next week. I hope it's this week because I'm going to be on the road next week covering the Senior Bowl. So I really hope that the Jets, for my stake of things, make the decision this week because I don't want to be in Mobile, Alabama, wherever you say that place. I keep saying it wrong. Covering who the Jets hire. Come on, Woody. Brick Johnson, I know you're watching. Hire the people this week. Hire Aaron Glenn and hire a GM that is in unison with him. And let's go win some football games. Is it too much to ask to win football games? Like, gosh, man, these other teams are spoiled. I want a franchise quarterback. I want to win. I don't want to be the laughing stock. I'm sick of being known as a fan that people love to tune into on YouTube to laugh at my pain. That's not why I built this channel. People come to Jets Media to laugh at my pain this season. You go look at my most popular videos, it's me after every loss losing my mind. I don't want that to be the case. And that will hopefully change with a new regime and a new culture. I would sacrifice my views and subscriber count for the greater good of the Jets being good. Because I predict if the Jets get successful, my views will drop because all the trolls will leave my channel. But right now, since the Jets are a laughingstock and continue to be a laughingstock, everyone continues to watch me laugh, cry. It is what it is. All right, let's bring in the next man, a legend, King Jamie.
Hey, buddy, let me shut this off so you can hear me better. Whoops. There we go. A little bit quieter.
Congrats on your 7th straight AFC Championship appearance.
Holy cow. You guys were supposed to be here with me. You know, the Jets was supposed to be coming to the championship. I wanted this for years, bro.
One day.
You get what you want, man. I understand the sentiment wanting a franchise quarterback. I never had one until Mahomes. I mean, we tried and tried, but it just didn't ever work for us either. I hope it happens, man. I hope you guys do get Aaron Glenn. I know there's a lot of people bitching that he didn't do very well, but they can shut the hell up, man. He took a team all the way to the divisional round. You know, to me, that's golden. I think you're plenty good. I think you're going to be just fine. I really hope so, Richie. And I don't turn into joke on you, bro, at all. I turn in to be there with you, man. You know it. I come there to be there with you, bro.
I know you do. From the beginning. From the start.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, man. For quite a while now. I love you, Richie. You're a great one at this. Fuck the trolls. They can kiss my ass. You know?
Oh, King Jamie the Mad. Appreciate you, man. Much love to you. Enjoy the rest of your day, all right? Great to see you.
Are you ready for all the whiners to show up and piss and moan that the Texans lost? They're going to sound just like Bills fans next week, too.
Oh.
I'll be there hanging out with
Speaking like a true champion. That's all I hear is a true champion. And it's a perfect segue, King Jamie, for our next caller. I appreciate the call, man, because guess who's next? A Bills fan, Mr. Staff Boy.
Yes.
He's calling you out, firefighter, man.
That's fine. I'm not afraid of the Chiefs, you know.
Oh, not afraid of the Chiefs, huh?
Not afraid of the Chiefs. I mean, we've continued to dominate them in the regular season. We had a weak defense for a long time. Finally, our defense is healthy. We got this.
We got this.
It's an easy win.
All right. Easy win. You got that much confidence.
Easy win. 38-24. Easy win.
Oh, God, man. Buffalo Bills are on another level of confidence. They had to get through Baltimore. They did, and now they feel like they can beat the Chiefs for the first time.
Josh is better than Mahomes. That's all it is.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, again, we can make the argument who has more wins, who's been to the Super Bowl, but athletically, I'm saying. Athletically,
but what about the quarterback position?
No, just pure athleticism. He's better. Not quarterback position because you can't really it's hard to argue quarterback position because there's too many factors. But
yeah, but that's the position they play.
I know.
Athletically, I'll give it to Josh.
Yeah.
He can run and power through defenders.
But we're here to talk about the Jets right now. The Jets.
Uh-oh.
So how would you feel if this is a crazy thing for the Jets to do?
Uh-oh.
Give up this year and next year's first round pick. Trade for Dak Prescott.
Oh.
Let me finish. Trade for Dak Prescott. Because honestly, Deion Sanders and Shadur Sanders want to go to the Cowboys. They're trying to move Dak Prescott. You're going to get someone who can actually throw the ball, which, you have someone right now, but Rodgers isn't going to be there much longer. I don't think he's even going to stay after the season. I think he's getting pushed out at this point. So you get Dak Prescott. He can move in the pocket. You got to give him that. Dak Prescott can move in the pocket. He's accurate. He did have one of the best seasons statistically last season. He had the highest, I think he had the best touchdown to interception ratio out of every quarterback.
He balled last season, and then he fell down the earth this year and then got hurt.
Well, yes. Well, he also decided to go under anesthesia to get a tattoo, which, let's not talk about that.
Did he?
Yeah, that's literally his entire legs, I think his leg sleeve. He had to go under anesthesia to get that done. It was, I don't know.
And that's who I want to be my quarterback?
Listen,
a man that can't take the pain of getting a tattoo?
But imagine you go out and get Dak Prescott. You already have the wide receiver core.
But I want someone to get someone better than Dak. I know that's asking for a lot, but Dak is I feel like we know who he is. He's 31 years old. We know who he is at his peak, and I just don't feel like that's even good enough. I know that sounds wild, but on paper, of course, last year statistically, 70% completion percentage, 4,500 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 9 picks. Phenomenal. But, I just don't know if he can be the guy to get us over the hump to compete with Josh Allen, compete with Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. I know it sounds wild.
Let's say wild thing out there. Let's say after the season, let's say the Eagles get bumped by the Commanders.
No, to Jalen Hurts. No.
You would not take Jalen Hurts?
No.
But you're getting a dual.
Screw these NFC East quarterbacks. Give me Jaden Daniels out of that division.
You can't have him. He's a rookie.
Man, it's tough.
They're not going to give you him.
Must feel good. They're not worried about these hypotheticals having Josh Allen.
It feels amazing, But the only reason I brought it up, another completely different topic. Did you see that statistic that came out? The comparison of Mike Tomlin to Mike McCarthy.
It's the same.
They literally have the same stat line for wins, losses,
Super Bowls,
everything. And
yeah,
then they go ahead and get rid of Mike McCarthy and they keep Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, that is interesting. Two Mikes.
What the fuck?
And the Jets are not interviewing Mike McCarthy, so interesting.
I think that might be a good thing for you guys.
Yeah, unless we bring in Dak and we bring in the Dallas Cowboys here. Just kidding. I don't want that. But salute to you. Salute to your service for, of course. I know you were on call yesterday.
My pager right here for whenever I get a call.
Well, look at that. Well, salute to your service, my friend. Appreciate you, my man, as always. And we'll see you on the AFC East Roundtable Wednesday.
Yes.
All right, brother. Take care. Shout out to Staff Boy out there. We want Dart. Yeah, Dak Prescott. But the thing is that he's doing that us Jets fans need to talk about. We need to consider every single option. I'm not saying we need to want everything, but we need to make sure that every option is being talked about. All right? Every single option is getting talked about. So that's number one. Oh boy, we got some breaking news. The New York Jets are scheduled to interview former Lions executive and current Commanders assistant GM, Lance Newmark. Wow, look at this, folks. This is big. I think this could be a guy. I think this could be the guy. Lance Newmark spent 26 seasons in Detroit before joining Washington last year and is said to have a strong relationship with both Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. All right. So this is some intriguing news, folks. Very intriguing news. Lance Newmark could be coming in. This is, by the way, the second interview that the New York Jets have heard. Second interview. All right. So if you want to learn more about Lance Newmark, let's do that together. All right. Let's do this together. Let's learn more about Lance Newmark right here. So this is on the Jets website after they interviewed him. All right. The Jets have completed a virtual interview with Lance Newmark for the GM vacancy. Newmark just completed his first regular season as an assistant GM of the Washington Commanders, reportedly directly to GM Adam Peters. Newmark oversees Washington's personnel and scouting departments. The Commanders won 12 games this season for the first time since 1991, blah, 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 blah. Also, we can add that we just saw the Commanders win in the playoffs again. They're going to the NFC title game. Newmark joined Washington staff after a 26-year run with the Lions before leaving the Motor City. Newmark serves as the senior director of player personnel for Detroit and helped oversee college and pro scouting operations. He also held roles with the Lions as director of player personnel from 2016 to 2021, director of college scouting in 2015 to 16, assistant director of college scouting 2008 to 2014. So he's coming from the scouting department. Starting his NFL career with the San Diego Chargers, Newmark spent 2 seasons as a staff assistant under Hall of Fame GM Bobby Beathard. Woody Johnson is leading the search, blah, blah, blah. So this is big. This is the second interview that we are seeing. All right. Now, the one thing I'm going to say is he was part of the Detroit Lions organization that was atrocious forever. Was he part of the turnaround? I mean, he just left them last year, so he was part of those drafts where they got Jahmyr Gibbs and all them, I believe. And he was right under Adam Peters. Let's not forget the Commanders. I mean, they just turned their entire organization around, right? So also has connections and a tie to Aaron Glenn. Definitely something to be interesting here. Lance Newmark. All right. Could be coming to the Jets. Could this be the guy? Could this be the guy? All right. What do you guys think? Do you guys want him? If the Jets hire Aaron Glenn, and think of it this way, they're interviewing them at the same time. This could be the two pairings. This could be the two people that the Jets have been looking for all along. So, interesting breaking news, folks. Interesting breaking news. Newmark interview with Brady yesterday. That's interesting to hear. So this is the second interview that we heard. All right. Very, very interesting. So the news that we're talking about right now is that the Jets are bringing in Aaron Glenn for a second interview in person for the first time. Will they bring him in and hire him? We shall see. So, folks, big shout out to BetUS, as always, for sponsoring Jets Media all season long. Don't forget to check them out. The championship series odds are out. Super Bowl odds are out. Definitely go check them out, folks. Much love to BetUS for being the proud sponsor of Jets Media all season long. We're going to wrap up the show now. Don't forget, we will be live on the Huddle. All right, we will be live on the Huddle in 20 minutes, folks. 20 minutes. This stream, when it ends, will automatically redirect you to BetUS TV's YouTube channel, The Huddle. So definitely come over there, folks. Definitely come on over to The Huddle. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you didn't already. We're going to hear Dan Mitchell's reaction to the Buffalo Bills' victory of them advancing to the AFC title game. Great question, man, by all you guys, and I appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on The Huddle. Peace.